Hello and welcome. If you're getting ready for a big test, you know just how tricky vocabulary can be. Well, today we're going to make it a whole lot easier by breaking down 25 essential words from WordSmart's List 12.
So, to help you remember everything, we've put the words into 5 simple groups. We'll cover everything from disagreeing with people to words about nature. All right, let's jump right in.
Okay, first up, we've got words that are all about disagreements, arguments, and official commands.
Now, these two words look super similar, right? But here's the easy way to remember the difference. Dissent is the action of disagreeing. It's the disagreement itself. But a dissident is the person who is disagreeing, usually with a powerful group like a government. So a dissident shows dissent. Simple as that.
Think of it like this. Persuade is when you try to get someone to do something. Well, dissuade is the exact opposite. You're trying to convince them not to do it. So if your friend wants to quit their job, you might try to dissuade them by reminding them of all the good things about it.
An edict is basically a big official rule that comes from someone in charge. It's not a suggestion. It's a "you must do this" kind of command. You know, a king could issue an edict that everyone has to pay a new tax. Or a school principal might issue an edict that no one can use their phones during school hours.
This is a really important word. Duress means you are being forced to do something you don't want to do, usually because of threats. The key thing to remember is that if you do something under duress, like signing a contract or confessing to something, it's often not considered legal or valid because you didn't have a free choice.
All right, let's switch gears. Our next group of words is all about secrets, hiding them, revealing them, and proving that something is true.
Here we have two words that are total opposites. To dissemble is kind of like wearing a mask. You're hiding how you really feel. You might be very angry, but you smile and say everything is fine. That's dissembling. But to divulge is when you take that mask off and tell a secret. You're revealing information that was supposed to be hidden.
When you downplay something, you're trying to make it seem like no big deal, even when it is. You know, a big company might try to downplay some bad news to keep customers from worrying. Or if you do something really amazing, you might downplay your success by saying, "Oh, it was nothing special," when it really was.
We all know the word document as a noun, like a piece of paper. But here, we're using it as an action word, a verb. To document something just means you're creating a record of it to prove it happened. Scientists document their findings. You might take photos to document the damage after a small car accident. You're gathering the proof.
This picture is a perfect way to understand distinct. Distinct just means something is very clear, separate, and easy to tell apart from other things. In the picture on the left, the shapes are all mixed up. On the right, they're sorted into distinct groups. You can easily see the difference between the blue squares and the red circles. They are distinct. Okay, moving on. This next set of words is going to help you talk about different kinds of sad or serious feelings.
So these 3 words are all in the sad family, but they have slightly different flavors. Doleful is that deep, mournful kind of sad, like the sound of a sad song. Downcast is when you feel sad and also without hope. You can just picture someone looking down at the floor, feeling downcast. And door is a bit different. It's more than just sad. It's also serious, gloomy, and even a little unfriendly.
This is a great phrase to know. If you're in the doldrums, it means you feel stuck. You're bored, you have no energy, you're a little bit sad, you're just blah. Maybe after a long, difficult week, you might find yourself in the doldrums over the weekend. A disservice is basically an action that hurts someone or makes things worse for them. I love the picture of the Jenga tower here. Pulling out that important block is a total disservice to the tower's stability. In the same way, spreading a rumor about someone is a huge disservice to them. It's the opposite of doing them a favor. All right, let's talk about words that describe people, their minds, how smart they are, and what makes them laugh.
Let's break these 3 down. First, dolt is, well, it's an insult. You'd call someone a dolt if you think they're being really stupid. Next, dotage is a much sadder word. It describes the mental weakness that can sometimes happen when someone gets very, very old. And divine is totally different. As a verb, to divine something means you figure it out using a gut feeling or intuition, not with facts. It's almost like you have a special insight.
A double entendre is just a clever phrase that has 2 meanings. One meaning is obvious, and the other one is usually a little bit funny or sneaky. The example here from a music store is perfect. Our drum prices can't be beat. Of course, it means the prices are very low, but it's also a joke about beating a drum. Droll describes a very specific kind of humor. It's not the kind that makes you laugh out loud. It's more of a dry, clever, and kind of weird type of funny. It's a kind of thing that makes you smirk or chuckle to yourself. You could say your friend has a very droll sense of humor.
And here we are, our last group of words. These are all about how things naturally happen, cycles, processes, and results.
So the word EB literally means to pull back or get smaller, just like the ocean tide going out. But what's really useful is the phrase ebb and flow. We use it all the time to describe the natural ups and downs of pretty much anything. The economy can ebb and flow. Your energy levels can ebb and flow throughout the day. It's a great one to know.
This slide has 3 great words from nature. An ecosystem is the whole community, plants, animals, and their environment all working together in one place. Diurnal is a simple one. It just means active during the day. Humans are diurnal. The opposite is nocturnal, like owls. And dross is basically the junk, the worthless stuff that's left over after you make something valuable, like when you purify metal.
So after all this work, after learning all these new words and how they connect, what's the point? What's the result of all this studying?
And that brings us to our very last word, effectual. If something is effectual, it means it works. It gets you the result you wanted. So learning these words in these little groups, it's an effectual way to study. You're not just memorizing, you're understanding. You've taken a really effectual step toward acing that test. Amazing work, and keep it up.